Hi everyone, my name is Corina. I also go by Xerox Corina or Corey.eve, that's my ENS name. And today I'm going to talk to you about branding or how to build your brand. A little bit about me, I have been working in marketing and growth roles for over 6 years. I've been in DeFi or /Web3 for the last 3.5 years. I'm a big enthusiast of psychology. I'm also a growth consultant, so I help startups with their growth strategy. The founder of Beehive Consulting and previously worked at MakerDAO and The Defiant as the head of growth. Also, I am a mentor at Ecolance and the Hypernest DeFi Accelerator. By the way, you can connect with me here directly. If you take any pictures, please feel free to tag me in them and in all of your posts. I would like to start this presentation by generally defining what is growth, and I would like to have a show of hands on how many of you are actually doing growth or marketing. 3, 4, 5 people. Okay, this presentation is just for you guys if you don't know anything about growth. So in order to understand brand building and branding, we have to understand the overall growth. So growth is a collection of many different things. This, in my opinion, this is marketing, business development, branding, and community. And I would like to start with actually defining the differences between branding and marketing, which is what we're going to see on the next slide. So I think that a lot of people, especially tech founders or people in Web3 who are not very focused on marketing or don't have a lot of experience in that area, they tend to confuse brand building and marketing. So here I would like to make a distinction. Marketing is basically answering the question how. So how are we going to get to 1 million users, for example? And branding is more answering the question why. Why do we want to reach 1 million users? Why do we think that so many people in this world need our product? So branding is more about the long-term goals, and marketing is more about the short-term goals, the tactics, the micro actions. Branding is more about the macro actions and the overall direction that we set. And in general, in a nutshell, branding is more about making your brand memorable and building this loyalty with your community. And branding is more about making your brand seen, probably for the first time for a lot of the users, and basically building awareness. So now that we have defined the main differences between branding and marketing, we can go with, okay, but Corina, how do we actually start the branding part? Like, how do we set up a direction for our brand? And this is what I tell absolutely all of the startups that I work with. This is a concept that I took from Simon Sinek's book. Show me if anyone has heard of this book. Okay, 3 people, that's great. So he has a book that's called Start With Why, and it actually is very helpful for founders. I really recommend it. And the whole concept of this book is basically, instead of going from from the product that you're building and the what, down to why, to do this the opposite way. So starting with why. Why is the solution that you're building important? And I think this is especially relevant for projects in crypto and Web3, because a lot of the projects come directly as products from hackathons. So it's just, we saw an opportunity to build something and we decided to build it. We didn't really think a lot about the overall need for this product. And this is why this exercise is very useful for you. Because it makes you reflect on, okay, why is this important? Why I am the one that's building it? Why are we as a team the one that should deliver this? Why do we have the perfect vision? And why our product? And then from then on, we answer the next question, which is more about the process, the how. So how are we going to solve the problem that we have identified? How are we going to deliver? And from then on, we actually move on to the what, so the product or the service. What do we offer? What problem do we solve? And this is now that we've defined basically our why, our overall, okay, this is why we're spending 8 hours a day or 12 hours a day of our lives building the specific product. The next step that we should take is basically create a narrative. And the way we create a narrative, my personal recommendation is starting with a mission statement, a slogan, and a tagline. And first, I want to start with the mission statement. So a mission statement is basically a declaration of your organization's purpose and vision. This is when you set your values, your overall idea of why you're building this specific product, right? It outlines the overall goals and aspirations. This is what we are hoping to help people in the world with, and typically remains the same and serves as a guiding principle for the brand's actions. And here we have a couple of examples. One is from Tesla. Their mission statement is to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy, and the other one is from Patagonia, which is, we're in the business to save our home planet. These are very powerful, mission statements are very powerful, important elements for you to identify your brand and make your brand memorable for the long run for your community. And also in order to attract people who are like-minded and basically have the same vision as you. The next step that we are going to take is create a slogan. And a slogan is a little bit different. It is usually, we try to make it creatively a more memorable phrase, and we use it to promote a specific product, service, or campaign. It might change along the way, depending on the different market strategies that we are adopting. And it's often catchy and attention-grabbing, and it's very useful for marketing tactics. So we have a couple of examples here. One is obviously Apple Think Different, which everybody knows about. And another one is Binance from crypto. It says exchange the world, which I think is a pretty good slogan for a centralized exchange. And the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to create a tagline. A tagline is a short, also memorable phrase associated with a brand. But taglines tend to be more enduring than slogans. And they often encapsulate the brand's core values or essence. And here, actually, I really like the tagline for MasterCard, which says, there are some things money can't buy, but for everything else, there is MasterCard. I feel like this is very catchy, interesting, and just, really makes your brand memorable. And Ethereum has the tagline, the world computer, which also encapsulates the vision of Ethereum overall. So now that we've defined the mission statement, the slogan, the tagline, I have a few tips to give you on exactly how to write your mission statement. I think in order to create a good mission statement, first you have to sit down with all of your team, preferably all of your co-founders and maybe some creative people on the team, and do some brainstorming sessions. If you don't have a mission statement, definitely do some brainstorming sessions and identify your core values, mission, vision, and purpose in order to create this mission statement. I think that once you have created a mission statement, you have to start creating the brand consistency, which means that you have the mission statement and you have everybody repeat it again and again and again and again. In all of your content online, in all of your presentations, in all of your demos, in every pitch that you do to your investors, you should have all of your founders, co-founders, representatives, when they go to conferences and they present about the product, they should always repeat the same mission statement, because this creates the brand consistency and makes it memorable overall. So for an example would be, we are building the Twitter of Web3. All right. And here I would also like to continue sort of presenting an argument of why I think that storytelling also really, really matters in Web3. I think that we don't really put a lot of emphasis on that just yet, but I have big hopes for the future that the more the competition is rising in Web3, the more we're going to see better stories being told by founders. But generally, storytelling is important for any brand, inside of Web3 or outside of it. It cuts through the noise. When you tell a story, they make your brand memorable and differentiate you from your competitors, especially if the story is about, how the founder came to the idea or to create the solution for the world. It also inspires action, as I've said before already. When you create a story and a narrative about why this product is so important for you, you automatically attract other people whom this product could be very important for. And the more you tell stories and narrate the whole idea, the more you are going to automatically attract people who simply relate to what you are saying. And also, it simplifies complex concepts. I think this is a very important point, because in Web3, a lot of the products are highly technical. They're not so easy to grasp for the mainstream. So being or having a person in the team who is able to actually translate all of these technicalities and translate them into a whole story that anybody could understand, even your grandmother and your parents and your, normie boyfriend or girlfriend, this would be very important for you. Another thing I would like to suggest here is also building your personal brand, especially as a founder, CTO, CEO, or somebody very senior in the company. Building your personal brand in such a small niche is very important. We know a lot of projects where we have very popular founders, such as Vitalik, whom we perhaps feel a little bit somehow close to, because they always engage with us. They always are here at conferences explaining new concepts or writing articles or answering questions. And this is very important because as a founder, you want to be the face of your brand. Even if you are maybe a more introverted person, I highly recommend that you at least do some effort and try to build your personal brand online at least. So it establishes thought leadership, and it also promotes the important values that I think everybody in Web3 also has, which are accessibility and transparency. The more transparent you are as a founder and the more you show up for your audience, the more trust you are going to build. And then, okay, Corina, but how to do this? I will answer you. So in order to build a personal brand, I suggest that you create really useful content online and build a strong online presence. You're also, as I said before, show up to events and conferences, show up to, hackathons, help new projects in the hackathons, basically grasp different concepts and so on, give feedback, and also stay informed on trends, news, and developments, and constantly adapt. So basically be present. Now moving on to some more practical things, because I'm sure that some of you might need some practical advice on how exactly to implement all of this branding ideas. You can easily turn any goals into tactics. So this is where we go from actually the branding and the whole direction onto the marketing tactics. When you have, whether it's a branding goal or a marketing community goal, BD, doesn't matter. You can simply make a list of your goals. For example, we want to establish a pioneer position. There are so many different tactics that you can do with that. I put some examples here. It would be, for example, produce quality content, thought leadership content, debate certain topics that are not so well debated online, and so on, and develop a strong narrative, basically. Or let's say you want to get more media exposure. One tactic would be to try to build really important relationships with the media and journalists, and so on. So anything that you see on this presentation today, you can easily turn into a tactic and into some actionable items to give your team to do, or to do yourself. And also, in terms of content, I have a few tips. As I said before, the competition with Web3 is rising. Now we're sort of in a bull market. We're going to see a lot more startups coming up. And one of the best ways to stand out is basically produce thought leadership content. So this is not just announcements about your recent partnerships and what you have done as a project or as a founder, but this is also, content that, for example, being a ghostwriter on a specific niche topic in a specific area, right? And being a guest writer in an article in like a media outlet, giving interviews and being on podcasts, doing infographics on social media, again, maybe not just related to your product, but also to products that are relevant to you or to your partners or to the entire ecosystem. Do some research, like give something useful and educational to people, and also try to simplify complex topics as much as possible. So there's a lot of things you can do. I suggest that you just try and do a lot of A/B testing and do all of them as much as you can. Try to tap into as many audiences as you can. So this could be, for example, building a newsletter, trying different channels, not just Twitter, try and go also LinkedIn, maybe TikTok if that's relevant for you, maybe other channels. Try to tap into audiences from your partners and so on. So expand in order to build awareness and build this thought leadership. Try to expand as much as possible in your reach. And also, in general, in a nutshell, a few more tips about on building a strong brand would be, as I said before, try to create brand consistency, so that this is both on the visual side. I think a lot of the startups nowadays, in the beginning, they just try to nail the visual side, but the narrative and the storytelling is equally important, if not more. So try to create this consistency, as I said, a mission statement, a slogan, a tagline, certain explanations and simplifications of how your project works. Try to repeat it again and again in different channels and in different media and absolutely everywhere. Understand your audience and the current trends and discourse. Engage with your community and your partners' communities a lot. So this is for the reach. Have your CEO, CTO, COO be proactive online and at events too. So have somebody be the face of the brand as well. It is so much easier for people to connect with the brand when they have a face to it. Also give your most loyal community members perks. It could be, you know, nowadays it's only airdrops. This is the only thing that everybody does nowadays, but there's so many other ways that brands have managed to say thank you to their communities before airdrops came along. So try to give like some free tickets to a conference. Try to give, you know, and like actual perks, not in a raffle, in a contest of, you know, you have to do something for this. If you're already in our community, then you've already done something for this, and we just want to say thank you. So yeah, try to say thank you and give some really nice things to your community as a thank you. And also know your audience. I'm sure most of you should know a few things about the Web3 culture, what your channels are. Just, you know, try to stick with the same values. I think this is the most important thing, because trends come and go, but the core values are here to stay, about, you know, decentralization and transparency and so on. And I just wanted to bring a couple of examples as well for you to wrap your head around what I'm saying exactly. One of the tips, one other tip that I have in your branding is to also study the current trends and get creative. Here we have Binance doing a TikTok where they're following this trend of saying, we're crypto traders, of course, we're doing this and that, which got really a lot of attention. So this basically, this trend specifically makes people relate, you know, because, oh yes, I trade as well and I feel the same. Here's a couple of other examples from Ajna Finance. By the way, check them out. I really, really like their branding. They're doing some really cool videos. Bankless also using memes, everybody using memes and so on. And one last example, because I'm running out of time, is one project that we did at Maker, where I worked before, where we wanted to say thank you to our community and basically release some NFTs. And our designer decided himself, okay, I'm going to just do some tree NFTs. And when we saw that, we said, you know what, if we're giving away some tree NFTs for people who have vaults in Maker, why don't we plant some actual trees for them? I mean, they've already invested so much in Maker by opening vaults. So why not? So we actually, for this campaign, we partnered with onetreeplanted.org, and we planted trees on behalf of everybody who had vaults. And it kind of gave a little bit of a, you know, a really nice feeling for the people who had vaults, and it was a very positive response to that specific campaign. I have 1 minute, and I'm going to close here with this question that I really like to add in my presentations. It is, why do you think that cult leaders manage to build cults? And the answer to that question is because what they sell is hope. And I think this is a lot of what we do in crypto as well. because we are driven by our values to create a better world, maybe a better financial world, a better social media, a better everything, you know. And what we're selling here is also hope. We are selling hope for a better world for the people to the next generation, a better internet. So this is what I would like for you to keep in mind. And I'm going to close with this quote, which says, "People will do anything for those who encourage their dreams, justify their failures, allay their fears, confirm their suspicions, and help them throw rocks at the enemies." Blair Wallen. And here I am going to close and have some questions. You can connect with me on LinkedIn, Twitter, Telegram, and yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this presentation. Thank you. Yes.
Mic on? Oh, there we go. This was one of the best marketing-oriented talks I've ever been to, so thank you.
Thank you so much.
Lots of great information. And you pointed out some references for things you like. I wonder if you could maybe mention anything that comes to mind recently for activations that were very innovative lately, because a lot of us go and do the conference circuit over and over again, you know, like cocktail hours and this. Were there any examples of things that stood out to you that said, okay, now we're going in a better direction here with activation ideas? And a follow-up question would be, what are some things that you dislike that you've seen a pattern of in terms of activations or other tactics? Thanks.
Okay, yeah, there's two questions. Let me think about it. So the example that I gave with Ajna, I think this is lately my favorite brand in general, from the content perspective, I would say, because they also, I think they're one of the very few, haven't really seen other brands that use AI for their videos, and they do, visually, they really, really stand out. In terms of activations, I think the current trend is, as I said, like everybody just doing airdrops and points and rewards, and it seems that there's so many rewards going on around that people are starting to get picky of where should I actually invest my money and time. So they're starting to get less and less effective, and this is why I'm really emphasizing on the idea of storytelling and building this narrative, because rewards are everywhere nowadays, just the same as going to a conference and you see everybody having the same t-shirts with one logo, right? Like I go to conferences a lot, and I cannot bring 20 t-shirts that look the same every time. Next time I go to a conference, I'm gonna go and so there's two options, right? Either I take a t-shirt from my favorite protocol, which I really, really want. Either I will take a t-shirt from that just looks really, really cool, and I would like to wear it anywhere outside of a conference. Yeah.
Thank you.
Other questions?
Yeah, hi. You mentioned partnerships a lot, and I think it's really important, obviously. But one concern I have is, in DeFi in 2020, we saw almost like the two camps. If you were on the SushiSwap side or the Uniswap side, for example, when you sort of create partnerships in this space in particular, it does seem to be that you almost create your little camp, your cult of people that are in this sort of circle and this sort of circle. And that's something I really want to avoid with our partnership, is we want to be friends with everybody. And so do you have any thoughts or tips about, avoiding this becoming one side versus the other side? We saw it a lot in DeFi, and I can see it happening in DeFi.
That's an interesting question. I didn't really think about this a lot in terms of the division, but all I can say is that the space is actually so much bigger than we think. And there's new startups, especially in DeFi, there's new startups coming and wanting to be discovered and wanting to partner with you all the time. So you might not actually need to necessarily focus on the top 5 or top 10 and try to pick the giants. Also give chances to the smaller ones. Yeah. Other questions? It says time is up. Last question. All right. If there are no other questions, feel free to connect with me, or if you're shy, feel free to drop me the question on Telegram. My name is Corina, and it was a pleasure to be on the stage. Thank you so much.